Hi, I'm Annie with Bright Star Massage. I offer barefoot massage in Eugene, Oregon, and I also offer virtual video coaching across several time zones. You can check out my website and contact info in the description. Today I want to talk about the concept of mood as a habit and ways that I'm trying to take complete responsibility for my own mood. I have had a lot of experience with pessimism and feelings of hopelessness, but I've come a long way in breaking my habit of pessimism, and I'm still working on improving my ability to take complete responsibility for my own mood. More and more, I'm internalizing the idea that mood is a habit. My main struggles with mood have always been pessimism, a feeling of hopelessness, and frustration. I've made a lot of progress with pessimism and hopelessness. I'm still working on frustration. I'm really proud of the progress that I've made in managing my own mood, but I feel like I'm ready to take it to the next level. So I've been practicing some new healthy habits of mood, and I'd like to share that with you. If you've watched any of my content, you know that I love habits and self-discipline. I kind of geek out on it. It's just really empowering to be self-disciplined, set goals, and follow through. Self-discipline is addicting. It's a beautiful thing. When people think about habits, they often think about exercise, going to the gym consistently, or nutrition, quitting smoking, or quitting alcohol. Those are wonderful things. And incidentally, those things all have a huge impact on your mood. If you get your nutrition straight, your exercise straight, cut out unhealthy habits, your mood will likely benefit from that. But I want to talk about an even more direct practice of cultivating habits of joy and well-being. The way that I was able to break the habit of pessimism over the last 2 years was with journaling. It's really simple. It's so simple that there's no reason not to do it. Every morning, I use my journal to set the intention of enjoying the day. And I remind myself that if I get frustrated or start to feel hopeless, I remind myself that I can remember to stop and just shift my mood, do whatever it takes to move out of that frustration. The next thing that I do within my journal every morning is list things that I'm grateful for. Practicing daily thankfulness broke my habit of pessimism so quickly. It's just simply effective. That's why so many people talk about the importance of gratitude. And it's just a shift of focus. Instead of focusing on the things that aren't working and noticing all the shitty things, I just started to notice all the things that were working and all the beautiful things. And just by shifting my focus to those good things, more good things started to come into my life just by changing my focus. Just doing that one thing, journaling every morning, kind of changed my life. I am in a really different place today than I was in 2 years ago when I was really pessimistic and feeling hopeless almost every day. The more I notice and appreciate the amazing things, the more of those things I get in my life. And I still go unconscious throughout the day and fall back into old programming. I do that several times a day, but I just keep reminding myself to come back into the present moment and remember that mood is a choice. And even though I still have a lot of moments of unconsciousness, overall, it's just getting better. It's getting better and better. I'm in a better place now. I imagine that I'll keep working on this. There will be some ups and downs, and I will be in a better place a year or 2 years from now because I'm gaining more and more control of my own mood and taking more responsibility for it. It's amazing to not be tossed around on the waves of my emotions as much. And a lot of it has to do with staying in solution because there are things that are really dark, things that anyone would feel pessimistic about. But the subtle shift is automatically going to a mindset of solution. What can be done to improve this? Rather than just going on a downward spiral about how terrible and awful and shitty everything is. Frustration is still where I get stuck, so that's the one I'm working on a lot. I'm self-employed. That means that I am responsible for every aspect of every single goddamn thing, and it's exhausting. I can't just go to work and punch a time card and do work and get paid. I have to create that work. I have to make the money flow. And it just means constant learning new skills and figuring it out myself. And that's exhausting. But I'm sure that other people that work in jobs are exhausted for different different reasons. Everybody is fighting battles. No matter who you are, you probably have some aspects of your situation, your work life or your personal life, where you get stuck and moods come into play, maybe in an uncomfortable way. You might want to take more control of your mood and learn how to cultivate joy, cultivate happiness, and feel a little bit more comfortable. And take things in stride a little bit more. So I've been getting more disciplined about this practice of cultivating a positive mental attitude. So what I've been doing is checking in with myself 3 or 4 times a day. I do this by setting an alarm on my phone. A lot of times what works for me is a 10 a.m. alarm, 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. When that alarm goes off, I check in with myself. How am I feeling? Am I frustrated? How is the day going? Is my mood hindering my efficiency in the work that I'm doing? Because sometimes I'll check in with myself and I am incredibly frustrated with something that I'm trying to accomplish, and it's just not working. But that layer of shitty attitude on top of the task that I'm trying to complete is not doing anything to help accomplish the task. So that's a really good moment to take a step back and recalibrate, switch up my mood and then reapproach the project with a new attitude. So if I check in with myself and I'm feeling pessimistic or stuck in any way, then I will find a stopping point, wrap things up, and then I'll do a 5 to 20 minute shift. Just do something else for 10 minutes and try to get my mood together before I reapproach the project that I'm working on. The way that I change the channel is usually with something physical. Could be breath work, yoga, qigong, going for a walk with my dog, hugging my dog, 10-minute dance party, jumping jacks. These are all really great options for just like shifting your physiology, snapping out of a negative state, and, finding some positive grounded footing. The activity that I choose really depends on what I feel like I need for the moment, what feels appropriate. And the whole point is to change physiology, because anytime you have frustration or negative mood or a positive mood, there's an underlying brain chemical that's present. Too much cortisol, not enough serotonin, something. You can shift that. You can change those chemicals by activity. Get some endorphins, go for a 30-minute run, whatever it takes to change those chemicals and get to a better space. So you can create those activities for yourself, just like I mentioned. Pick things that you think would work. Taking a shower, doing yoga for 20 minutes. The kinds of things that you like to do. It's about cultivating joy and taking radical responsibility for your mood. And I love it. Although it does feel kind of cheesy sometimes. I think of Saturday Night Live and Stuart Smalley, like staring in the mirror, saying affirmations. It just feels kind of cheesy, but I'm going with it because there are so many things in my life that I've thought were cheesy, but then once I really committed to them, I could see the truth in why they worked. And gratitude journaling is one great example of that. In the past, I was so pessimistic that even the idea of gratitude journaling, it was like throwing holy water onto a vampire. Like, it burned me. I was so pessimistic that the idea of that kind of positivity felt like acid to me, And that's kind of how affirmations feel to me now, but especially if I'm in a really pessimistic space, but I just kind of go with it anyway, just for the sake of my own mood. So Daybreaker's great. There's a free trial if you want to try it out and see if it's something that feels good to you. But you can take this same method, setting alarms and checking in with yourself, and then very consciously getting in the habit of changing your mood when it's going in the wrong direction. And after using the alarms for a few days now, I've been doing it for about a week, I noticed that even without the alarm, it's becoming more automatic. When I get frustrated, I'm able to have enough consciousness to stop and recognize that I'm becoming frustrated and it's counterproductive and I'm going down the wrong path. It really can become an automatic thing. You can become more and more conscious more of the time so that you can catch yourself in those moments. So anyway, I don't know if other people struggle with this or if it's just me, being a miserable cow. Let me know if you struggle with mental states and maintaining a positive mood. And do you have any mood shifting activities? Maybe there's something I haven't thought of. I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments. So I just have one more story related to this. I was walking yesterday morning and listening to a podcast. And anyway, yesterday was Wanda Sykes. And I just had such a good time listening to her. She's great. But she had this amazing story about being really happy. Before she was a comedian, she used to work for the NSA for a long time. She lived
in the DC area, and she just worked for the government before she became a comedian. And one night she went to a Sade concert and she felt so good from the music, you know, just music is such an amazing mood shifter. And then the next morning she woke up and she was still feeling amazing. She called in to her boss at the NSA and she said, you know, I just can't come into work today. I'm just too happy. And she said, now I know you have sick days and you have mental health days, but is it okay for me to not come into work because I'm just too happy to come in? And I just was so touched. Something about that is so beautiful to me. And her boss said, you know what, just stay home. It takes a lot of balls to call your boss and say that you can't come into work because you're too happy. So you just go ahead and take the day off. And I just thought that story was so beautiful. And I think that taking care of your mood is so important, and it's important work. And we get so caught up in our responsibilities that we have to do for work and family that taking care of our mood just gets pushed back to the back of the line. I think that it is important, an important thing to cultivate, and it's good to create systems in your life where you have time for that. And I know it's really hard because a lot of people have lives that are much more chaotic than mine, much crazier schedules. And it is really hard to find these moments. I think it's important. The payoff is really big. If you can find a way to set aside time to check in with your mood and make sure that you're staying in a good, positive mental state, I think you can actually be more effective, more efficient, get more shit done if you can take care of that. Anyway, I'll see you next time.